Are you going to finally tell the world today as well how your dentist appointment, terribly scheduled one day after New Year's, basically went?
So up until that point, I hadn't told my work that I had a dentist appointment because I was either hoping that it would magically go away or that I would just cancel it. And I legitimately almost like canceled it both the night before and the morning of. But I was just like, oh, I'm not going to be in right away because I have to go to the dentist. And it was the worst hour of my life.
The absolute best thing after hearing what you said there was so it's like right after midnight, New Year's Eve, like you were pretty drunk by midnight, or did you get drunk later?
No, I was probably pretty drunk by midnight.
All right, so midnight hits. You call the dentist. You leave a voicemail and say, "Hey, I have an appointment in 2 days. I ain't gonna make it in."
That's what I should have done.
You should have done that. So with that, let's get loaded. Because this is the Loaded Box Podcast.
But we never finish first because we finish last.
Ooh, tell you what, folks.
Mm-hmm.
It's Ben Morgan and DJ Primo. It's our first time
Nummy.
podcasting in 2019. Because we tried to do a DFS podcast earlier this week and we failed. That was rough.
It wasn't a good thing. It wasn't, I don't know, it was just a hot mess.
To be 100% honest with you, cracking that beer right there is definitely the first time I've had any alcohol since. And part of me was just like, I was going to bluff it. I was going to let you only crack the beer and I was going to say, ha ha, I'm not drinking today. But I feel like I'd let the listeners down. It's the Loaded Box Podcast. All the innuendos were all of them.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess nobody would really care if you weren't drinking, but I mean, you'd just be a pussy then.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm letting you down. I'm letting the listeners down. I let myself down.
I can't believe people are trying to trade me for fucking less than a 30-pack of Busch Light and that whiskey. I got dissed by some guy. I was like, you even listen to me podcast? I'm the fucking talent, bro.
I think that's going to be confusing to all of our listeners, so let's just skate around that one. NFL playoffs are here, DJ, so you know what that means. As always, we're going to be giving our straight up and against the spread picks for all of the action from Wild Card Weekend. How did you feel when you were going through these games? And we've got 4 of them here, 2 on Saturday, 2 on Sunday. Man, I feel kind of confident in some of these.
Yeah, I went through them preliminarily on, was it Monday or Tuesday, and I guess kind of like, I went through the spreads when they opened up, like kind of said who I liked, and all of them seemed to be easy for me to pick just against the spread. I haven't really gone over since. I'm going to be winging it today. Don't care. I'm going to kill it. You're going to win. I'm going to win. We're all going to win.
Oh.
Just an FYI, me and a buddy of mine have gone 13-0 since Sunday in gambling. So take that for what it's worth.
Yeah.
Just take it. In NFL and college since Sunday, 13-0.
That segues well because remember in week 17 I was saying don't bet. It's the worst week ever to bet. Well, the two of us, we combined to go 5-1 for plus 11 units that last week. And because of the fact that you went 2-1, you actually finished with a 500 record for the regular season. But since you don't always bet the same amount of units, you finished positive units for the year.
Yeah, so I want everybody that's a big roller like $100,000, maybe $10,000 if you're a little roller.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing which ones we agree and disagree, since we both have some pretty strong opinions here for Wild Card Weekend. So let's get this puppy started.
So we are going to start off with the Colts at the Texans. The Texans are obviously at home because they won the division. It's kind of fun watching division rivals go up against each other, isn't it?
Yeah.
In the first round of the playoffs. Texans are favored by 1. The over-under is 48. What do you got, Mr. Morgan?
All right, so this season, the Colts 10-6 straight up, 8-7-1 against the spread. The Texans, obviously, like you said, won the division 11-5 straight up, 7-6-3 against the spread. If I had to bet on this one, I'm probably getting a push. 3 against the spread pushes. I mean, that's a hell of a number there. So do the crazy money line, bet the push. But in all reality here, Indy's actually won 4 in a row, 9 of its last 10, arguably one of the hottest teams in the league. 6-3-1 over against the spread over that stretch as well. And so obviously these two teams have played twice this year. Houston won week 4, 37-34. Indy won the rematch in week 14, 24-21. And man, I remember we talked about this game because it was the Sunday night game. The division game went down to Indy and Tennessee, and you were all on Indy, and I was all on Tennessee. And I doubted Indy last week. I doubted Andrew Luck last week, and I am not doing it again. With the spread being one, you basically need to pick a winner here. I'm putting my faith back in Luck. For some reason, like I said, I thought he would struggle under the pressure. And what did he do against the Titans? He threw for nearly 300 yards, 3 touchdowns. The X factor, though, in this game is the play of Deshaun Watson. Are we going to see turnover Watson? If so, Indy can win this by double digits. If Watson takes care of the ball, makes some plays with his legs, that therefore opens some things up in the passing game. I could see Houston kind of staying in this one. But I don't think playing in Houston is as much of a home field advantage as some other places in the NFL. So since it's a dome, I'm going to hop back on that Colts bandwagon this week if there's room and if the Indy Colts fans will let me. So DJ, as a Colts believer all year, will you let me hop back on that damn train?
I don't know. You've got to guess me twice on the Colts, and both reasons I've given you perfect reasons. Both times I've given you perfect reasons for it, and now I'm a little scared to have you hop on this
I know,
train.
right? I'm going to jinx it.
Because I'm obviously going to go with Indy. You know how many times...
Oh, FYI, this is probably my most confident game of the week, too. So that's...
Yeah, this is by far... I was going to say that this is my most confident, would probably be a 5-unit game for me. I don't even think it's close. I think the game's probably close. I don't think it's close as far as the spread goes. Like, I think they win, by 5. I think the Colts win by 5 to 7 points, somewhere in that range. You maybe have a little scare on the last drive, but Deshaun Watson's kind of driving, but they stall, or the Colts. You know how many times Deshaun Watson has been sacked, or how many sacks Houston has given up this year?
I do not.
62 times.
Woo.
He gets sacked a ton. That's 9 more than Aaron Rodgers, who I felt like was getting hit constantly. It's ridiculous. I'm taking the Colts. Here's a couple of reasons why. You talk about Tennessee. I talked about them beating Dallas easily. I talked about them beating Tennessee easily. You know what those all have in common with Houston? Great front sevens, not good secondaries. Houston has one of the lower bottom 5 defenses against the pass. They're one of the worst in the league defending the pass. And the Colts, they are so good. It's so weird to say this because we saw what Andrew Luck has gone through in the past, but the Colts are so good up front now, and Luck just has time to throw the ball around. That's exactly what they did against the Colts, or what they did against the Titans, and what they did against the Cowboys. They blocked really well up front for him, gave him time, and Luck just picked apart that secondary. I don't know why you would see anything different. That's the exact same thing happening. That Colts offensive line has been dominating. In turn, Andrew Luck has been dominating. The running backs, all of them, are playing well.
Yeah.
And Marlon Mack. So I don't see it. I can't. You got to keep riding that hot hand. They're the hot team, wild card team going into this. You like going into the playoffs. You like to jump on that hot team. I think the Colts are the hot team right now.
Doesn't this just seem like a game where Luck is almost like guaranteed to throw 3 touchdown passes?
Oh yeah.
It's just. I can't go against them. We were talking earlier about fantasy playoffs, and if you could choose one quarterback to have in these playoffs, obviously you like Drew Brees and Patrick Mahomes, but for how hot Andrew Luck is right now and how great he's been ever since week 6 when they started out 1-5, and just how hot he's been since that, it's hard to go against them. They're legit dark horse to make a nice run in here. It seems like every year we kind of see one of these wild card teams make a little bit of a run. That could be the Colts this year.
Yeah. I would not be surprised to see them in the AFC Championship, and if they snuck into the Super Bowl, I would not be surprised at all, just because of Andrew Luck. You get that elite quarterback who's on a hot streak. Defense is playing well enough that offensive line is playing out of their mind. They have everything that they need to do to get into the Super Bowl.
Yeah, let's take a look at...
especially in the AFC.
Right. Let's take a look at the second game on Saturday, the NFC game between Dallas and Seattle.
So this one is Seahawks at Cowboys. The Cowboys are favored by 2, and the over-under is 43. What do you got?
So these two teams, record-wise, pretty similar. Both of them are 10-6 straight up. Seattle is 9-5-2 against the line. Dallas is 8-6-2 against the line. Pretty similar, both not too bad. But Seattle in their last 3 are only 1-2 against the line, whereas Dallas in their last 8, basically since getting Amari Cooper, 5-2-1 against the spread. So they've been on a little bit of a heater, because both straight up and against the spread in their last 8, 7-1 in their last 8 games, straight up winning. Against the spread, 6-1-1. Try to find a team in the NFL that's been hotter than that. It's pretty tough. I think this one's going to come down to, can Dak make a couple of plays on third down for Dallas? And from Seattle's perspective, can Seattle's strength, which is the run game, get it going against the Cowboys' strength, which is their run defense? They're fifth in the league. They allow less than 95 rush yards per game. This feels weird to say, but I've got just enough faith in Dak to get this done. I think Zeke leads the way on the ground. He did lead the NFL regular season rushing yards once again. I just think they're a little bit more of a complete team right now. And if Dak can make a couple of those third down plays, if he can avoid the pressure, maybe make a couple of plays with his legs, I think they're going to get it done. Obviously, you look at Seattle. I mean, Wilson has that ability to make plays as well. But if Dallas can shut down that Seahawks running game, I'm not sure Seattle has enough weapons on the outside to get it done. So, I sort of doubted Seattle earlier in the season. I think I'm still a little bit maybe biased towards my preseason thoughts of them. I didn't think they were going to be near this good. I thought the defense would struggle more than they did. They actually ended up having an unexpected solid defense. But I'm going to pick Dallas in this one, straight up and against the spread. I've got Dallas.
So for me, this one is the hardest game of the week for me. And I'm a degenerate, so I'm going to – there's only 4 games, so I'm going to have money. I'm going to have action on all 4 games. I might have a couple of bets on all 4 games because I need to have something going on. I can't only have 4 games and not have money skin in the game, right?
Especially when these games don't overlap. It's one at a time. So that's literally all you have. Like, you have that one.
That's what I live and die on. I looked at this game and I got real nervous. I'm not going to take a side on this. If I have to go straight up, it's hard for me to go against Russell Wilson. Do you not remember 3 months ago when Dallas was the lowest scoring, worst offense in like the history of the league?
Yeah.
And how much that's changed since Amari Cooper has come?
Yeah, 7-1 their last 8 games.
Isn't that wild? You would have thought they were never going to score a touchdown again, like in week 4. Like, this team's never going to score again.
No. I was ready to dump on Dak. Like, I have Dak in my dynasty league. I was ready, like, dude, give me peanuts. I don't want just take this guy off my roster. And now I'm like, not looking too bad with him heading into next year.
Hear me out. John Gruden should be coach of the year because he single-handedly got the Cowboys and the Bears into the playoffs.
In the playoffs.
It's pretty wild, isn't it?
Actually, it's realistic.
So if I have to have skin in this game, I'm going to go with the under in this game. Both these defenses have been playing well. These offenses have their struggles, especially in the Seattle. It doesn't seem like they want to score till the fourth quarter. That's when they really want to turn it on. And they're playing good enough defense where they are good enough against the run where I think they can slow Zeke down, put the game in Dak's hands, which I think essentially is what you want to do.
For sure.
I really just don't think Dak's going to beat you. I could see this being drag him. What's that thing? Drag him down, pull him out, game or something like that. There's like a saying, drag him out.
I know what you're trying to say, but I have no idea. The alcohol from New Year's Eve has crushed my brain cells.
That sucked. My brain was firing all cylinders today, and I already ruined it. I'm going under 43. I could see this game. I would be surprised if this game goes over 35. I'm not even shitting you.
I felt kind of the same way. I mean, obviously, these two defenses have been the strengths. Man, what scares me about my Dallas pick here, why I'm not near as confident in Dallas as I am with Indy, is because of that Russell Wilson factor. They are always in every game.
That's why I would bet. I'm probably going to bet Seattle and the under, but I don't want to give you confidence on Seattle because I don't know. I have no idea. So I like the under the most.
Here's my bold prediction on this one. Dallas is winning, covering, all good, all good. If they don't cover or win this game, it's going to be because Russell Wilson leads them to a game-scoring drive, literally with under a minute left to play.
And the annoying thing about Russell is he doesn't do shit all game half the time. And then he fucking gets to the fourth quarter, and he runs around, and he throws the ball straight up in the air, and somehow these wide receivers, run under it and fucking catch it for a touchdown.
It's like David Moore, too. It's not like he's doing this with studs.
It constantly happens.
No, I don't
get
it.
This guy.
Don't get it. Let's, before we get on to Sunday, let's talk about Pristine Auction real quick. Because they have daily auctions packed with tons of stuff for the man cave, they guarantee their items as they all come with certificates of authenticity from only the trusted sources. It's also affordable. A lot of people don't think you can afford it, but it's more affordable than you think. It's quick and free to register. It's free to bid. You only pay when you win. Make sure you mention us, the Loaded Box Podcast, in the How Did You Hear About Us section when you register. So take some of that Christmas money, head over to pristineauction.com today. Get some gear for that man cave. All right, DJ, let's head into Sunday AFC game, Baltimore and the Chargers. Man, what a deflating thing. The Chargers could have been like the 1 seed, it looked like, just like 2 weeks ago. Now
And the Ravens
they're
are
going
seconds from being
out.
knocked out of the playoffs.
Yeah, and now they have to go to Baltimore against like the toughest defense.
After going into LA and beating them just a couple weeks ago.
Right.
So the Chargers are playing at Baltimore. Like I said, the Ravens just beat the Chargers in LA. Ravens are favored by 3 points. The over-under is 41.5. Throw me those stats, Ben.
All right, here we go. Straight up, Chargers obviously 12-4, 9-7 against the line. Baltimore's 10-6 straight up, 8-8 against the spread this year. I like to always look at like how they did recently, though. That's what I've been doing with a lot of these. Chargers last 3, 2-1 straight up and against the spread. Ravens have won their last 3 games straight up, but they're just 1-2 against the spread during that stretch. And you just mentioned it. The two teams played each other week 16. Baltimore won that game in LA 22-10. Now that the playoffs are on the line, doesn't this seem like Phillip Rivers' best chance to actually make some noise since he's had like LaDainian Tomlinson, Vincent Jackson, like that year when they had him and Chambers and they had a pretty good defense and they had to go to New England in the AFC Championship game?
Phillip Rivers has been playing for that long, huh?
He has been playing forever.
His balls must be dragging against his knees.
But this has got to be, I think this has got to be his best chance. And now, like,
yeah.
I just talked about Seattle and their defense overachieving. That's literally how I chalk up Baltimore this year as well. Just overachieved on offense, overachieved on defense. But like Houston, like I said with the Texans, the quarterback is the wild card here. If the Ravens can control this game, keep it close, Jackson should do fine as long as he's balanced with that run and pass. If the Ravens defense were to slip up a little bit, say get down 14 early, I think this could get kind of scary for Baltimore. Not that they're going to give up a ton more points, but you're making a guy like Lamar Jackson who, when they've been successful, when they've been their best on offense, super balanced, pretty much run heavy more than anything, passing when they need to. If they have to get out of that rhythm, I don't see that really ending well for Baltimore here. But if you look at the other side of that coin, the same thing could be said for the other way. If the Chargers get down and the Ravens can focus on getting to Rivers and just playing pass defense, it could be a long day for Rivers as well. So I kind of thought back and forth on this one for a while. I'm not near as confident in this one as I was in Indy. But I'm going to go with the experience here. I'm going to think that the Charger season continues. Going with Rivers, I still think it's their best chance to make some noise, like the best chance they've had in like a decade. So I'm going to go with the experience over the rookie quarterback.
Oh, so it's make some noise season now.
Yeah, always.
Okay. Well, I'm a known, and you know this, and for you podcast listeners that don't, but I'm a known non-Baltimore believer. I actually put my balls on the wrist, literally, one year saying I would run around the house naked and if they made the playoffs. They didn't make the playoffs, by the way, so
it was close.
Sorry, ladies. Didn't have to run around the house naked. Look, throw the records, throw the numbers, throw that game, a couple of games out the window. You've got a rookie quarterback who's just kind of wild out there, running around, doing some crazy shit in a big playoff game on the line versus a veteran who's getting down to his last couple of chances. Hunter Henry coming back. Hopefully he's a factor. Probably won't be, but I'm sure he'll be out there on passing plays. Melvin Gordon should be full goal, ready to go. He's got all his weapons. Mike Williams stepping up now. He's got that confidence. Keenan Allen will be back healthy. He's got all of his weapons at his disposal. A great defense. If LA doesn't win this game, if LA doesn't win this game, I don't care that people are talking about them flying out east. They play the noon game. If LA is not there by now, I would be surprised. Like, get there early, get there few days early.
Oh, yeah.
Get used to the time zone, whatever. You adjust that. It's playoffs. You don't let the time zone affect a playoff game. You get there, you adjust. I mean, you got money. Get there, stay in a hotel for a few nights, and get ready for that game. I'm trying to think of what I'm going to put on the line here. I'm trying to stall. It's like, what can I do? If LA doesn't win this game, what do you think? I got nothing right now. I might have to hold on that and put it out on Twitter later.
I would say it's got to be a picture of you doing something embarrassing, and you got to tweet it. Gosh, I don't know what it could be yet, but yeah, let's get back to that.
Yeah, that's
think
tough.
about the rest of the podcast. We'll have an answer by the end of the episode.
Oh shit, that's big balls.
Because we only got one game left. You talked about Mike Williams real quick before we move on. That's kind of a sneaky DFS play that I like this week, just because the thing about Mike Williams. he's been that guy this entire year. Like if he's catching 1 touchdown, he's catching 2 touchdowns. Like he is like the ultimate boom guy. And when
I
you
love
have
that.
such like limited options, like this week when you went through your DFS thing, it's like, man, I just don't have that plethora of freaking like 14 games to choose from. You're down to 4. I love that guy that can have that big play potential. So I saw some of your lineups as well. Tariq Cohen, Darren Sproles, Mike Williams, Tyler Lockett. Plug those guys in those DFS lineups this
You
week.
named like 3 of my guys there, I think.
I know. It's kind of a good thing we didn't do a DFS episode because our lineups were like we're on the same wavelength for sure on that one. It must have been the booze talking.
DFS for me. Every time you say it, I keep trying to like figure out what it is in my head, and if just to me it makes me think of some like millennial like dick fucking I don't know. It just makes me think like some kind of term is in it. I can't get dick out of my head every time you say DFS or dick.
I think that's something you might need to see like a personal like psychiatrist for.
Yeah.
But no, it's super bad when he's constantly drawing dicks.
Yeah, drawing dicks. I can't get dick out of my head. My dick hit her foot. I was finishing up a triumphant bastard.
A big veiny.
A real veiny triumphant bastard. That was one of my favorite lines of that movie.
Yeah, now we got to go out Superbad after this episode.
I know. I mean, when I get in the mood for Superbad, I made my wife buy that movie for me because every time it's on TV, it ruins it, so I have to put it in the fucking DVD
I agree.
player.
I agree.
So I have it now.
I agree. Hey, one other thing I thought of from my New Year's Eve bender there. So you have a child. How?
Unfortunately.
Like I slept till 2:00 the next day. Like I slept till 2:00. If I would have had parental like duties, how would I have functioned? What would I have done? How do you handle that? Daddy advice with DJ. What do you do?
Well, this is what you do. You take Braylon, your son or daughter, to your mom's house, grandma's house, sleep him over there, and don't pick him up till about noon. And my wife didn't drink, so I slept till noon. My wife picked him up, didn't come back. When they came back, he took a nap. So I was like, well, if he's taking a nap, I might as well just fall right back asleep. I essentially slept till noon and then fell asleep again.
That is fantastic advice to start your new year. And
that's the perfect advice for a dad because the mom's always going to be motherly and she's going to go get that kid. So if she sees you're feeling like shit, she's just not going to bother you. And it's just kind of a dad thing. It's like our expectations sometimes is we're just going to lay around, football's on. And she brought him home. It's his nap time.
Yeah.
It was great.
We're going to disappoint more often than not.
Oh, yeah. We're going to disappoint those wives constantly. It's what I do. I'm very good at it. Daddy advice, be ready to disappoint her and you'll never feel bad.
I love it. We need to bring those in more often. I hope we get more scenarios that can just keep coming up throughout the rest of the year and into the off season.
But then, this is what I do. Let's just build on that for 1 second. So I do this. I do shit like that, and then I'll feel really good about myself if I do a whole night of bath night, putting him to bed, the dishes without her doing anything, and then the rest of the week I feel like I can just go out and drink and just get out of all my duties because I feel like I've done my part.
You've done your part. You did your share.
All by myself.
Yeah, I think you're onto something.
They're so proud of you too.
Yeah.
It's like a trick.
I need to take all these lessons down. I need to write them all down and then make a manual for the day that I have a child.
Let's write that down. So if you set the expectations real low, and then one night out of every couple of weeks you do a bunch of shit with the kid, you don't have to do anything again for another 2 weeks.
That's 2, folks. That's 2 pieces of advice. So write these down.
Congratulations. Moving on.
All right, let's go. Let's go on to the NFC game, and then after that, I think I've thought of your punishment for if the Chargers lose.
Oh shit! You were thinking that entire time, huh?
I was thinking.
I already forgot about it. So, the last game is probably one of the games of the week, or maybe the game of the weekend, right?
Probably.
We've got the Eagles in Chicago. Eagles just scorched and hot. Big Dick Nick, obviously is going to be playing.
Yeah, he's piping.
Sorry, I burped. The Bears are 6.5-point favorites. The over/under is 41. Go.
All right, so get this, Bears. This blew my mind because I knew that they were 12-4 straight up this year. I did not realize how good they were against the spread. What are you laughing at?
I just got a text from my wife that said, "I can hear you, Mr. Trickster."
Dude, you just blew your cover. What were you doing? You gotta close the door.
Now she knows. The gig is up.
Now we need to have her on and give mother advice.
Well, you know what? I took one for all the podcast listeners. Someone had to take one for the team.
You really did. You were the one setting the screen on that play. That sucks.
Jesus Christ. I just got shot by friendly fire on the battlefield.
I love that happened. All right. Let me talk about the Bears again. Like I said, I knew they were 12-4 straight up. I did not realize they were 12-4 against the spread this year. That's got to be the best in the NFL. Eagles, on the other hand, 9-7, squeaked in 6-9-1 against the spread. And Chicago, obviously, I said they were 12-4 against the spread, but the last 4-0 straight up, 4-0 against the spread, pretty damn hot. The impressive thing about those last 4 games, they were dogs in 2 of those games as well. They won them both straight up against the spread. And the Eagles, worst team against the spread that's playing this week. But ever since Nick Foles has taken over as starter, 3-0 straight up, 2-0-1 against the spread. So you almost kind of have to throw away that 6-9-1 against the spread thing here for the entire season. Because it looks like a whole different team now with Nick Foles. Old Big Dick Nick, as you like to call him, back in the mix. In my opinion, I got to say this is the hardest one to pick. I'm a true believer in that Bears defense. Where my nerves come in with the Bears, it's Trubisky in the offense. He's a little too young for my liking, just hasn't quite shown enough for me to believe in it here. No way I'd bet this game, in all honesty. Like, I'm not going to bet on this one. But since this one's almost a touchdown in the point spread, since you make me pick somebody, I'm going to go with Philly since it's so much up in the air for me. I've said the last couple of weeks that I think Nick Foles eventually returns to that mean, and that's definitely likely against a team like the Bears. But man,
you said that last week too.
I know, but this is the Bears defense. But the thing is, he's experienced. He's been around for a little while. He can get the job done. So even if he doesn't play his best, I still think he has the ability to keep them within a touchdown. I think he can hang that much. The biggest thing with Philly on defense, I think they need to try to take away Tariq Cohen. You have to make Jordan Howard, you have to make these wide receivers and Mitch Trubisky be the ones that beat you. Because I think Trubisky can look decent with checkdowns and option routes to Cohen. I think you have to make that your priority on defense. If you can keep Cohen in check, if you can make Trubisky beat you, I like their chances of staying within a touchdown here. And if you believe in revenge games, boom, Alshon Jeffrey versus the Bears in a playoff primetime spot. You know that Nick Foles loves targeting him, though. You know that. So straight up, I'm nervous here. I'd be likely to side with the Bears straight up. But against the spread, I've got to take those points, man. I got to go with Philly.
You know what? I hate Chicago, right? I hate them. But Matt Nagy, he's the real deal. When it comes to offensive play calling, he's not going to let Mitch Trubisky hold the ball for very long. He's gonna throw it quick to Allen Robinson, Trey Burton, get eye candy all over the place. Tariq Cohen coming across, doing lots of crazy shit. I know. I'm worried Howard won't. God damn it. Here it is again. I'm worried Howard won't get going very well, but that doesn't really matter when you have a guy, a weapon, a mismatch like Cohen. He's got Anthony Miller out of the slot. I think will get involved pretty highly in this game. He's going to be getting the ball out of his hands. Nagy devises an offensive plan that just it's a beauty to watch. He's like Scott Frost to me. I think Scott Frost is about to take Nebraska to another level with just his scheme. Matt Nagy came into Chicago and did that. He made Mitch Trubisky for 12 games before he got injured or whatever, one of the top quarterbacks in fantasy football stats, and he doesn't even really throw the ball that far down the field. It's just off a scheme. He uses the athletes. He puts guys in the right place. He has to make a read, call it, just one read, and he gets the ball out of his hands. He knows he's competent enough to make those quick plays, make those quick reads, and not make dumb throws. That's what he's done. He's not putting those positions, because when Trubisky gets in trouble, it's when he hangs onto the ball.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
That Philadelphia secondary is one of the worst in the league. They're the most decimated. Again, this is another situation, one of the worst in the league. I think he has another field day. I actually love this. Everybody's scared. It's uncomfortable. It's an uncomfortable feeling to see Chicago minus 6.5.
It really
What
is.
I say? If I'm not uncomfortable, I'm uncomfortable. I'm taking Chicago minus 6.5 just because it's so big. And honestly, Nick Foles is going to poop his pants in this game. I'm calling it. This is my Nick Foles poops his pants lock of the week. He's going to be dead. He's going to die. He's going to poop in his pants. No chance. Philadelphia is not going to score many points, at all. They won't score. They will not reach 10 points. I'm calling my shot right now. They won't get to 10 points. Chicago will shut that offense down.
Wow, you got some guarantees this week.
Lock it in.
Like you said about Nagy, though, I mean, I think him and McVay do such a great job of trying to mask a weakness. Like
Yeah.
he knows that Jared Goff is a good quarterback, but he knows that he's not perfect. He knows that if he has to hold on to the ball and get out of the pocket and make plays and move it make his feet actually work and get him off his throwing spot. He knows that he struggles, so he puts him in a position where he doesn't really have to do that all that much. And Nagy's doing the same thing with Trubisky. When the Bears' offense is doing its best, it is those quick passes to Burton, to Cohen. You mentioned Miller. I know he was one of your DFS guys. To guys like Robinson. That's what they would have to do. And like you said, Philly's defense isn't what it was in that Super Bowl year. I think they were propped up a little bit too much. I think they were a little overhyped. They're not near as good this year as they were last year. So I get that. What concerns me is, man, it's that little bit of Philly magic that still might be hanging out there. And it's at the end of the day, it's still a second-year quarterback in Mitch Trubisky, who, going back to college, still, what did he have? Like 12 starts in his entire collegiate career. He doesn't have a ton of experience. The show might be a little bit too big for him right now. I just don't know how he's going to handle it. And I think if you're getting a touchdown, I think I have to take Philly yet.
Matt Nagy's instilled confidence into him. They're getting the ball out. For you DFS fans, I don't know why, but Adam Shaheen recently came back, right?
Yeah.
Keep an eye out. I just have this feeling. This guy's going to be a good tight end. He's a big, fast, Kelsey-like tight end. I have a feeling he might get involved a little bit in these playoffs, and watch out for him in this game to get us started.
And he's got to be dirt cheap. I don't have the prices in front of me. There's no way he's
This
expensive.
is a gut feeling.
Right.
I just have a feeling Shaheen's going to be more involved in these playoffs than what you expected in general, and it's going to start in this game, and I think it could be big. I don't know. I just feel it. I saw him get involved a couple games ago.
Right.
I think he scored a touchdown maybe a few games back, but I just have this feeling they're going to see a little more Shaheen, I think Nagy likes having that double tight end combination, and I think he'll use it.
Are you ready to hear what I've thought of for your punishment if the Chargers lose?
Here we go.
All right, so most listeners know this by now. If you're new to the podcast, DJ is an avid Green Bay Packers fan, making him very anti-Minnesota Vikings. I just happen to have a Randy Moss Minnesota Vikings jersey. I've got some Vikings helmets, got some memorabilia. I think if they lose, you need to wear the Moss jersey, you need to put on a helmet, and you need to, I got some other Viking stuff. You need to proudly display it and hold it. Take a picture and post it on your social media, Facebook and Twitter, and on the Loaded Box podcast. And you need to keep it as your profile picture on Twitter for a week. High stakes.
That's a lot of things.
I want to see how confident you are here.
I don't even know if I can remember all those things.
I'll remember them all.
Fucking write that down in my notebook that I just won a bunch of gambling on.
So what do you think? You got a deal?
Fuck it. Yeah, YOLO. I'm not scared.
He's doing it.
Chargers are going to win that game. I'm locking it in. It's not like I'm worried.
The best thing about this is I have nothing.
I'm undefeated.
Never lost.
Since Sunday at 3 o'clock.
Nice. Well, I'm excited for this podcast to be over for a couple of reasons. One, so that I can write that down so that we don't forget. And two, so that your wife can yell at you and I can hear all about it.
She called me a trickster. I don't think she's too mad. I'll just touch her vagina a little bit and we'll be good.
Hey-o. She is over 18, right?
What?
She is over 18, right?
Maybe.
Oh, okay. Well, you want to wrap this puppy up then? You got anything else you want to add?
Nope.
All right. Well, thanks again for listening. Check us out on Twitter at LoadedBox. If you have any questions, feel free to tweet at us. If you have any comments, whatever you want to say to us, go ahead and let us know there. Check out our website, loadedboxpodcast.com. Our writer, Robert, actually just dropped his top 5 NFL draft quarterbacks. So if you are a fan of a team that's not in the playoffs and want to see maybe your team needs a quarterback and you want to hear a little bit, hear a little bit about some of the top quarterbacks that are going to be available come April, make sure you check that out. Available on iTunes, Google Play, YouTube, all the above. DJ, send us into Wild Card Weekend.
Cheers. Bye.